Good morning, good afternoon, should I say, group. So I'll be waiting that people join in. We'll try to make this live a bit more interactive than usual. You're probably receiving a notification. And I'll just wait in silence as people start joining in. And if there's nobody, then I'll just go on. All right, so I will be going. So today I sent an email and I sent a text around if you're a mom. So we are in challenging moments lately. Everybody's home, everybody's in the unknown, and everybody's kind of in circumstances that are very or more chaotic. Let's put it like this. And one thing that I was mentioning is how much all our energy is getting gathered in our households right now. All the energies that we were putting outside, running, and doing activities for kids. I'm especially addressing myself to mothers today. All this energy that was really being put outside in kind of a hectic life of rhythm, maybe yes or maybe no. We have the opportunity to take it back. We have the opportunity to bring it back in our households. And this is going to create two things. I mean, with energy can either create or it can destroy. Okay, I see people coming in. So obviously, like here, I really want to be promoting using this energy as a creative energy. So all this energy that you're gathering back from the external attention you are putting it in, it's to be contained, it's to be grounded, it's to be integrated in your body. And this you might be challenged with. So lately, if with your kids, for example, you've been challenged with patience and being irritated and not really listening to them, just again, I insist on the ground, bring that energy in the ground and acknowledge how you feel. That's the first thing, because everything that's happening is impacting us, obviously. So we have to really be able to manage our inner world. And the more we are grounded, the more we are centered in ourselves, the more this will impact the household. The less the kids are going to be reactive to everything that's happening, as we are cultivating kind of a collective energy in the household. Kids are very, very sensitive. So yeah, as you come in, just say hi and share if you have questions or if you've been challenged lately, as I will sew it with you. So kids are very, very sensitive. They're like sponges. So everything they are immersed in, they will kind of become. Us adults too, but we kind of disconnected and we're not so much aware of this anymore. But kids, kids really absorb the behaviors and they absorb the mind of everything that they are immersed in. So if us as parents, and this, I'm not gonna put pressure on parents. Everybody's really doing their best, but it's to bring some consciousness on, how important it is to cultivate our center and our energy. Because if there's something inside of us where we are like this, or if we're stuck in fear, if we're repressing many parts of our desires, deepest desires, if we're lying to ourselves, all of this contaminates the air. All right. And again, it's without judgment that we are saying this, but to bring awareness and to also be able to name it. So if stuff like this happens in front of your kids, I believe that it's super important to be able to name it. So if you have fear and you're not present with them, well, we can let them know, hey, you know what? Mommy's having fear right now, and I need just a little bit of space. At least this will disengage any kind of survival mechanisms that might be present in them. Because at the end of the day, us as human beings, we're all like seeking love, right? So kids, they want attention. They want your presence. That's what they're seeking. All humans do. So when you disconnect like this from them, consciously or unconsciously, they're like, well, is there something that I've done? And why is mommy not with me? And what's happening? They're questioning, even if their intuitive sense can feel, they're kids. So sometimes just by naming, this can be very, very helpful to calm, to let them know, okay, give me 5 minutes to structure it a bit more. Give me 5 minutes so I take care of that thing, and then I come back more grounded, and then you have quality time with them. So I really wanted to bring this attention on how our inner world transmits to our kids, and we can go very, very deep in that subject, as there's tons of stuff that we don't know. How much of us have taken on the responsibility of continuing the desires of our parents, right? Whether or not we want it, we are actually walking the path that our parents haven't walked. And once we start being aware of this, we're like, wow, mommy and daddy are actually still living inside of me. And there's a part that I need to continue, because they haven't taken the responsibility to ground themselves and act upon what they knew about themselves. So that's one thing. What can you do to own up to what's inside of you so your children are not activated by that? Do you have questions? So we're mainly speaking about the ground again, and speaking about, how with this chaotic time, how important it is even more to cultivate our energy inside, and to stay centered in all of this. So I'm going to give an example, as how kids are mirror of us. My son, he's now 8, but I remember, like, at a young age, let's say 2 or 3, at one point he started banging on the floor with a stick. And he was saying something like, you're not with me, you're not with me. And he was banging. And right away I used this as a mirror, and I looked inside, and inside actually my attention was split. I was not with him, he was right. So how can you see or witness the behavior of your children around you as a mirror? What does it reflect of your inner world? Again, this is not to blame. This is just to have fun and consciousness, right? Because kids, again, they want that presence. If they're not capable of having that presence inside, they will seek that presence outside. They are going through discomfort. So how can you center yourself, bring comfort inside your body, so that comfort and that inner safety gets transmitted to your children? How can you reassure them, for example, if they're in a crisis, or if they're like seeking and seeking and seeking attention? How can you reassure them and put a certain structure of, this is what's happening, I'm going through this, and then telling that child, I'm going to be present with you in a few minutes or in 5 minutes. This will calm them down automatically. Okay, I see a few moms or like kids space holders in the group. Do you have questions? I would love to weave this with you. Do you? Right. You're being silent. Yeah, I woke up with the intuition to start sharing on that subject, as the authentic woman you are, the authentic mother you are, the more you are authentic, the more our children are going to live by that example. So what I mean by authentic, again, is the profoundness of who you are, but it's at the same time deconstructing all the beliefs that have been stored in your mind or in your design or in the way you've been acting, and choosing something different, something more, something truer for you. And we have to know that those beliefs, which is, the mind, constructs you and constructs a box around who you are at a deeper level, constructs a box around the authentic you. And this box, by transmittance, gets kind of implanted. It's like we're in the Matrix. Gets like implanted in your child's mind. Motherhood is challenging. Again, it's not to blame, but to be aware. So what are the beliefs that you have that can be challenged right now? That you can question and ask those beliefs, do I still need you? Are you actually preventing me to become more of who I really am? How can I let you go? And you're going to see the second you're going to switch this is also going to help your child to grow more with more space. I see questions. How do you keep your kids busy while you hold the space for others? So when your presence and when your attention is on others, how do you keep your kids busy? Again, I think it's really, or I believe it's really at the root of safety that kids react so much. They want to feel your presence. So if your presence, your full presence, has to be postponed while you're holding space for somebody else, it's to ground yourself, bring that ground 1 minute with them, and let them know, I hear you. I know this is what you need from me right now. I'm busy for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and I really want to give you and offer you that space. And then you go back. Of course, when they are in crisis, there's tons of stuff, but the root of the attitude is this. If inside of you, when you're holding space and your kids are disturbing you, or like they're creating some mess around, look inside of you. What part of you is not is being challenged by it? Is it the part of you that feels guilty of not holding the space correctly for the others? Is it the part of you who's feeling guilty of not being present with your children? There is a part that is uncomfortable inside of you. The second you also welcome that part, offer self-love, ground, be empathic with that part, your kids are also going to relax in this, because our kids are our mirrors. They will challenge us in every flaws or weaknesses or voids or leaks that we have. Our children are our best teachers. So once we start playing like this, we always bring it to us, not in blame, in consciousness. How can I be more present to myself? So the inner tear, the inner cry, the anger, the inner frustration, the guilt, the shame, you see where I'm going with all of this. How can we hold hold our space, so this starts exuding as space in the air, and then our children feel there is space. And words help sometimes. They want safety. I hope this answers your question. I'm seeing another question. Maxime, are just keeping, I can't read the first word, but just keeping talking when I'm watching the video so I can relate with what you're talking about. Yes, your presence is on the video. I actually thought my son would be with me right now, but he's actually listening to a story right now at his dad's place, so he's not here. So again, this is another example. Of course, attention is energy. So when we put our attention in our child, we feed him with energy. We actually, this is a deep subject. So ideally, we would be our center. So the energetical game of like give and take would be reduced to its minimum in the sense of what's required. So the more you're grounded and you ground your nervous system, the less of like this action-reaction is going to happen. You're going to be less entangled in this, I push here, you push there, and like never ending kind of emotional game, energetical game. You bring that energy back to the center, you're grounded, you feel safe, you're very at ease with everything that's happening, meaning that they cannot play you in your weaknesses, you are centered. And then grounded, you either name or you create that energetical space so they are nourished. It's a bit of the content that I'm bringing is a bit subtle. And it was just an open window to bring a new perspective on how to cope, especially like nowadays we're like working from home, we're doing everything from homes, or depending on your children, I don't know if they are homeschooled or not. I started homeschooling last year as a profound call. So the call was so strong in me, like I often speak about following your inner calling. So this was an inner calling. I was being pushed to homeschool my child, and this was really based on how important it is at the root of who I am to give spaces for humans to grow organically. And I was seeing what the school system was doing to him. It's not to blame. They're really like, it's whatever they're offering serving its purpose, but it was actually cutting him from a lot of his primal energy, of his instinct, of his self-confidence. And as a mother, I was holding space and like witnessing this, and I made the choice at one point that how would it be if I take him out of that school and give that space so the natural growth and organic growth can take care of who he is, right? And this comes with its challenges. I'm not saying that it's easy, because the second we plug back to nature's current, we become a lot more primal, a lot more animal, right? So with a lot more fierceness, a lot more of, in your face stuff, right? So it comes with its challenges, but the energy that comes with it and the roots and the ground that the child is able to develop through this is, from my perspective, uncompromising. But this is not the reality for everybody, but at least if we can offer those spaces in our households, and now that we have this opportunity to homeschool our children, well, let's be curious. If we ground ourselves more, what's the impact in our household and with our children? If we offer them more space without our fears, without the projections of our beliefs and the boxes we have grown into, what's going to happen? You can change one habit, just a few habits that you change, and you'll see a shift. Look at one belief or two beliefs that you've been hooking on, hanging on, and shift it. Tell that belief, or like acknowledge that it's not of service to you right now, and that it's actually preventing you from growing into more of who you are. Shift it. You will free your kids also. How do you organize your days to have blocks of work time, but also follow the flow of the kids? All right. So this is, from a structure point of view. I would again plan a little bit of the day, so your kids know that what is important for you, and you know what is important for them. So being in the flow, it's not just doing what you want to be doing all the time. Flow comes with an organic structure around it. So, for example, if you know that your kids love playing outside and they're creative, or they're building the cabane, we say in French, then you make sure that you give a good 2 hours for that free flow. They know they will be getting their own medicine in their space. And you block it. You block your time, and you manage that time with either your partner, if your partner is at home, or you do blocks, half an hour of productivity. Does it answer your question? And this is to play with. You know, like every human is very different. Every human has different needs, but at the root of every human is the desire for love. So the more you bring love inside your own machine, the less pressure you put on yourself, the clearer you are, more grounded, the more everything's going to be tainted by this. So that's why I always bring it to us parents. Children are going to go through what they need to go, but if we take that space inside to really be self-loving, self-respecting, as I was saying in the previous video, this is what they will learn. This is what they will learn. Something is going to relax in them, this safety. Because we are agitated inside because something is not self-loving. A part of us is not, a part of us is not comfortable. Yes, it's an ongoing process of discovery, for sure. And our children get to learn from that. They get to learn that we are not perfect. They get to also learn that we are and feeling ourselves and creating that space. They get to learn how to communicate when we communicate what's happening, even if it's just small words. You know, kids' attention is not so big with words, but few things. I'm going through this and I'm taking 5 minutes and I'll come back to you. They want to feel the love. It's the attention. All right. So a few more questions and then I'll close that live down. One more question. You can always post the question underneath if you're watching the video later on, and I'll answer, and I'll be co-creating with your questions also. So just really feel free to hop on and share what you're going through in here, and I'll just co-create. I'm in a very, very organic process with everything that's happening lately, really following intuition and applying everything that I'm sharing with you at the same time. And know that I'm here to bring to the best of my capacities the baggage that I'm receiving. All right, mothers, keep on going and keep on going. Warrior inside. Okay. Much love to all of you. Bye.